At 65, I screamed. It was big and went in fast, the knife of betrayal from my own flesh and blood. I bet that got your attention. Let me pull you in deeper, dear listener, because this isn't just a story. It's the raw unraveling of a mother's heart. Imagine me, Eleanor Thompson, sitting alone in my dim kitchen, the clock ticking like a heartbeat that's about to stop. The air smells of stale coffee and forgotten apple pie, the kind I used to bake for holidays. Outside, snow blankets, the Chicago streets, muffling the world like my muffled cries. I've spent decades pouring my soul into my family, only to watch it drain away like water through cracked hands. But oh, the twist. When I finally stood up, the silence was deafening, and the peace sweeter than any revenge. Stick with me through the tears and the fire. By the end, you'll feel the weight lift from your own shoulders, wondering if you've been holding on too tight yourself. This is my confession, whispered from the shadows of regret to the light of freedom. Hear me out, and you might just find your own voice screaming back. The day it all shattered started with a simple phone call. I was folding laundry in the living room, the soft cotton of my grandson's tiny shirts slipping through my arthritic fingers. The dryer hummed in the background, a familiar lullaby in my quiet house on Elm Street. I'd just finished scrubbing the kitchen floor, my knees aching from the cold tiles, the scent of lemon cleaner clinging to the air like a false promise of freshness. At 65, these chores were my rhythm, my way of filling the empty hours since my husband, George, passed 5 years ago. Heart attack, they said. But I knew it was the weight of worrying about our son, Michael, and his wife, Sarah, always needing more. The phone rang, shrill against the silence. It was the bank. Mrs. Thompson, we're calling about the foreclosure notice on your property. Foreclosure. My heart stuttered. I'd owned this house for 40 years, paid off the mortgage with George's life insurance after he died. It was my sanctuary, walls echoing with memories of laughter and lullabies. I hung up, numb, and drove to the county records office. Snowflakes, melting on my windshield like unshed tears. There it was, in black and white. Michael had forged my signature on a loan, using the house as collateral for his failing business. He'd gambled it all away, my home, my security. I screamed then, alone in the car, the sound raw and animalistic. It tore through me fast, that realization, big as a lifetime of blind love. As I drove back, flashbacks flooded in like old home movies flickering on a dusty screen. I remembered Michael as a boy, his chubby hands clutching mine as we walked to school, the crisp autumn leaves crunching under our feet. I'd worked 2 jobs waitressing at the diner, mending clothes at night to pay for his college. "Mom, you're my hero," he'd say, hugging me tight, his little boy's scent of soap and dirt filling my lungs. Then came Sarah, with her sharp smiles and sharper words. I gave them the down payment for their first house, sold my jewelry, the gold necklace George gave me on our wedding day. It's chained smooth from years of wear. It's for family, I'd tell myself, watching them drive away in their new car, bought with my savings. Birthdays, holidays, I-cooked feasts, turkey roasting, golden in the oven, the aroma of sage and onions wrapping the house in warmth. But over time, the calls grew sparse. "Who's Mom?" Michael would say. "Tomorrow, always tomorrow." Tomorrow never came. The betrayal didn't hit all at once. It crept in like frost on a window pane. At first, small things. Sarah rolling her eyes when I offered advice on raising little Tommy. "Times have changed, Eleanor. We don't need your old-fashioned ways." I'd bite my tongue, fold in more laundry, the fabric softener's floral scent mocking my wilting spirit. Then, during my bout with pneumonia last winter, I lay in bed, coughing up the chill of loneliness. They didn't visit. Too risky with the "Hey," Michael texted. I saw the photos online, dinner's out, laughing with friends. When I recovered, I drove over with homemade soup, steam rising from the pot like my fading hopes. Sarah opened the door, barely. "We're fine, Eleanor. Don't need your germs." Michael's voice from inside. "Mom, just go. We're handling it." Handling what? Their entitlement grew, vines choking the tree that fed them. They started asking for money outright. "For Tommy's school," Sarah said, her manicured nails tapping impatiently. I gave and gave, until my bank account echoed like my empty home. One night, staring at the cracked bowl on the shelf, a wedding gift from George. Now chipped from years of use, I realized it symbolized us. Broken, yet I'd kept it. Enough. The word echoed in my mind, calm and clear, like a bell tolling at dawn. No more. I sat at the kitchen table, the wood scarred from family meals long past, and pulled out my folder of papers. Wills, deeds, accounts. My hands trembled, but my resolve didn't. I called my lawyer, voice steady despite the storm inside. Change everything. First, the will. Michael's name struck through, assets to charity and a distant niece who'd actually called to check on me. Then, the locks on the house changed that afternoon. The new keys cold and empowering in my palm. I canceled the joint credit card they'd been using, the one I'd foolishly added them to, and the house. I put it on the market myself, quietly, the for sale sign, a quiet declaration of war. No more manipulation, no more gaslighting whispers of "you're overreacting." Mom! I felt a spark ignite, warming the cold hollow in my chest. They came storming back, of course. Michael pounded on the door that evening, snow swirling around him like angry ghosts. "Ma, open up, what the hell?" Sarah behind him, arms crossed, her face twisted in fury. I opened the door a crack, chain latched. "What have you done?" he yelled. "The bank called the loans in default because of you." Me, the audacity. "You forged my name." Michael stole my home. He shifted, eyes darting. "It was for us, for the family." "You're being selfish," Sarah chimed in, voice dripping venom. "After all we've done for you, ungrateful old woman." I stood, tall, though my knees shook. "All you've done, taken, you mean no more." My words were short, cold as the winter air seeping in. "Leave, or I'll call the police." They begged, then, panic cracking their facade. "Mom, please, we need you." But I closed the door, the click of the lock echoing my reclaimed control. Their voices faded into the night, leaving only the whisper of wind. Now, peace settles over me like a soft blanket. I sit by the window, watching the sunrise paint the sky in pinks and golds, symbols of new beginnings. The house is sold. I'm moving to a small cottage by the lake, where waves lap gently, washing away the pain. No more empty chairs at the table, just me and my books. The pages rustling like old friends. Flowers bloom in my new garden roses, resilient and thorny, much like I've become. I've rediscovered joy in simple things, the texture of warm tea in my mug, the sound of birdsong breaking the silence. Loneliness, it's transformed into solitude, dignified and mine. Listen closely, dear one. This is the lesson etched in my scars. We pour our love into others, but when it's met with betrayal, remember your worth. Set boundaries like locked doors. Let go like falling leaves. Karma whispers justice in the quiet aftermath. Dignity isn't given, it's claimed. At 65, I screamed, but now I breathe free. May you find your own sunrise before the shadows grow too long.